Good morning, Roseñas. Live Christ, share Christ. Today, we're going to discuss 21st century literature, literary approaches, or not really used in 21st century, but over the centuries, okay, mga siguro mga 20th century. So these are the literary approaches that we use in deciphering a particular text. Okay. So first we have formalism. Formalism, as the name of the approach suggests, formalism involves examining the formal elements of a cultural production in order to arrive at its meaning. So for example, examining its setting, characters, plot, theme, and point of view of a story in order to create meaning out of it. Like for example, let's take the story uh, Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin. So, where's the setting of the story? In the house. Okay, the characters, Mrs. Mallard and her husband, and then the doctor. And then what's the plot? So, plot involves Freytag's triangle, the exposition, the climax of the story, the denouement. Okay, so yun. And then the theme of the selection. Okay, and in the point of view, is it written in first, second, third person omniscient, or third person point of view? Okay, so we are looking at those things in order to create meaning, out of the text. Okay, the metaphors, whereas to studying the figures of speech used. Okay, next, so here are the questions that we ask ourselves in using formalism. What are the formal elements of the text or work? How do the formal elements of the text contribute to meaning or message created by the text? Because we believe that the author or these elements in a text help us in understanding or interpreting the text. Now, we move to psychoanalytic criticism. Psychoanalytic criticism adopts the methods of reading employed by Freud and later theorists to interpret text. It argues that literary texts like dreams express the secret unconscious desires and anxieties of the author. Okay, so Freud uh, created this theory, okay? So itong pinaka-famous niyang theory, and then coined the term id, ego, and superego. Id seeks pleasure and avoid pain, while ego is the one placating the id, okay? Trying to get the id without breaking the laws. Kasi id is the desire natin. The pleasure that we want. Okay, superego is the conscience according to Freud. Like for example, id. Okay, lust. For example, kalandian. Okay, it's in id. Libido, 'di ba? Okay, kasi according to Freud, there are only two drives governing the world, sex and power. Ngayon, sex is a pleasure. Okay? Now, everybody wants to have sex, and if that desire is not placated by the ego, so ultimately makakapag-create siya ng crime. Okay? Kaya na merong rape. Okay? So now the superego is the one is the conscience. It punishes misbehavior with feelings or guilt. Kaya after makakommit ng tao ng crime, nagigilty siya because of the conscience, because of the superego. Okay? So now, itong mga desires natin, itong id natin, minsan, according to Freud, we unconsciously, hindi natin alam, we unconsciously put it in writing, okay? Yung author, 'di ba? Unconsciously hindi niya alam, linagay niya yun doon sa writing. And this is associative with with different symbols. Yun ang tinatawag ni Freud ng mga phallic symbols. Okay? Phallic symbols. Like for example, sabi ni Freud, a pen could symbolize penis. Any concave objects could symbolize vagina. Like for example, a house, lahat na may paglalagyan at may butas, okay, na enclose, okay, according to him, that's vagina or ovary, o yun, ang ano. So, sa kanya yung nagsimula lahat. Like for example, hot dog, 'di ba? We associate hot dogs with penis, right? So, ganon. So unconsciously, sometimes authors put it. Kasi meron tayong tinatawag na conscious, which is the working memory, and the preconscious, which is the thoughts, the memories, the knowledge that you have, and then the unconscious, which is the one kept out, okay? Kept out of our conscious awareness. And we also have the trauma. Kasi minsan we have traumas in our lives, tapos we unconsciously put it in writing. Now we also have dreams, kasi according to Freud, dreams are cryptic text, okay? A person builds up, out of the dream, a person builds up an uh, associative symbols, okay, that illuminate these dream thoughts, these unconscious desires, these wishes, okay? Kaya yan. So, according to him, psychological material will be expressed indirectly, disguised, or encoded as in the dreams through principles such as symbolism. Yun ang repressed desire, no? Repressed object represented in disguise. Condensation, several thoughts or persons represented in a single image, a displacement or the anxiety located onto another image by means of association. So yun yung ano doon sa kay Freud. Okay, so in psychoanalytic approach, we look at the childhood and past experiences influenced how those influence a character's present behavior in the text, okay? And how are the character's issues in life and biases reflected in the text at hand? And what Freudian tendencies do the characters exhibit? For example, son's hatred towards the father or the mother, longing for unrequited love. Kasi Freud coined the term Oedipus complex and Electra complex. According to Freud, Oedipus complex, yun yung mga feelings natin, okay? Now, kasi according to him, while infant pa lang ang bata, nagkakameron siya ng feeling sa kanyang mother. Okay, remember the story of Oedipus? Kaya tinawag niya yung Oedipus complex. Electra complex is the feeling of the son the feeling of the daughter toward his father. Remember in the story, Electra killed her mother as a vengeance, 'di ba? Kasi pinatay yung si Agamemnon. Okay. So, and then repressed tendencies are the characters dealing with. What are those repressed tendencies? Okay, so for example, 'di ba? Lust. Kasi hindi naman pwede na makikipag-sex ka lang kahit kanino, 'di ba? You can't do that unless you are bounded by marriage, because sex is reserved for married couple, okay? Next is feminism. Feminism, this is the revolt of women against men because they are fighting for their equal rights in society. Because before, especially in America, okay, they don't have equal rights there. Okay, we do not have equal pay. But now we have equal pay and women are fighting for their rights. Okay, so we look at it. Okay. So, that's feminism. Okay? So, in the text, we ask ourselves the questions, what gender ideologies, stereotypes does a text promote or critique? How are these manifested through the characters? What patriarchal attitudes or beliefs are present in the text, and how do these affect the flow of the story? And also, in feminism, we look sa mga stereotypes. For example, in an advertisement, 'di ba? Nag-advertise lang ng light bulb pagkatapos kailangan pa nakatupis na babae. So those kind of things, okay? Stereotypes, how women are viewed as toys or as something na magagamit lang. Well, no? Feminism revolted against that idea and exhibited that kung ano ang kayang gawin ng babae, ng lalaki kaya rin gawin ng babae. That's feminism. Okay?